So I'm going to share tonight on navigating difficult or uncomfortable conversations. Oh yes, we all love difficult conversations, don't we? Yeah, so I just want to ask you guys, is it a Western thing? Is it a Western thing to speak your mind and share how you feel and ask for what you want? Right? We might think, oh, that's a Western thing. But Asians, us Asians or Eastern, if we grew up in the Eastern culture, how did that work for us? It definitely wasn't, it isn't being upfront, it isn't being, hey, I want to share my feelings with you. Can we have a talk, right? What would happen if you did? So there's just none of that, right? And so what replaced that, the culture I grew up in at home was all the communication was indirect. It was like hinting at different things. And then if we had conflict, then it would be like, go quiet, walk away, do something else. The next day, everything's just fine. Yeah, do you want to eat something? Can I fix that for you? And nobody talks, right? So did that work? We've got to look back at our cultural things that we grew up in and think, well, if it didn't work, let's not call it a Western thing or an Eastern thing, just call it something that just didn't work. And can we do something different so we get better at this, so it works, right, in our relationships? Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, all that indirectness, just leads to resentment, right? Because if you can't say something that you really want to be honest and say for what you need, you just get resentful, don't you? You just quietly I didn't want to do that, I don't want to say that, but I'm not saying that. And then what I've seen is that manipulation happens as well. So if you don't feel free to say something or what you need, you tend to try to manipulate then someone else. You hint at things and then you're trying to manipulate people into getting something that you want, right? And also if you just keep pretending and avoiding things, then it doesn't build any trust in the relationship because no one's being honest, right? No one's being honest. And then the relationships just stay shallow because I don't really know you, you don't really know me because we're just being polite. And there's no trust being built, right? And then we tend to either clam up or blow up and then we blame it on other people. So, So the old ways of doing things, not being direct, not sharing our feelings, not communicating what we want, it's just a better way, right? Instead of being indirect and pretending everything's fine. And also it's biblical to be honest and to speak the truth. Ephesians 4:15 says, instead, speaking this truth in love, we will grow to become in every respect the mature body of him who is the head, that is Christ. So we're called to speak truthfully from our hearts, one to another. And that's how we mature and that's how we grow up. Because you know what? We're taking responsibility for our thoughts and our feelings, and we're taking responsibility to communicate it to the other person because they need to know. Otherwise, there'll always be assumptions. And they'll never know where you stand and what you want. Yeah, but our default setting is like, I hate confrontation. I don't want to do conflict, so don't say anything. So we can stay silent to stay safe. And that worked in childhood, but it doesn't work as adults. Because as adults, we need to, we have choices. We can figure out what we're thinking, what we want, and we need to actually say something. Okay, so how do we navigate difficult or uncomfortable conversations? Lots of times when you need them, right? When there's lots of conflict, there might be misunderstandings. There might be, you have a different point of view from me, so we're kind of clashing. Maybe there's strong personalities around in your home or in your workplace. Maybe there's some very tense situations. Maybe it's confusing or there's intimidating reactions. Yeah, so those are some of the situations. Maybe you've come across it, like, I think I need to have an uncomfortable conversation. I think that other person needs to know what I'm feeling and where I stand. Yeah, so I just want to put in a disclaimer here. What we're going to go through tonight is not really applicable to if you have a very, very difficult person in your life and they keep blaming you, and if you were honest with them, they might attack you back, like the crazy maker or the narcissist. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is for us that are in more trusting relationships, with a friend, a spouse, a family member, a close church family member. So where there's trust on both sides, right? There's trust with me, and there's trust with you, and I can actually be honest with you, and I know that you would maybe try to listen. So this is where I'm coming from. So we can't use this way to talk to people who don't want to listen, who don't want to engage, who just feel like everything's an attack or everything's a criticism. Okay, so just please put that in its right place. Yeah, and besides, also with those kind of people, it's best to be very brief, gentle, and clear when you need to be with them. And you might have to remove yourself from them if they attack back and they get very, what is that word? Hostile, right? You do have to remove yourself to say, I would like to listen to you, but we can't do this talk right now. Could we have this conversation later when you've calmed down? I would like to do that when you've calmed down. And could you please let me know? So kind of put it back onto them. So that's a good way of when you're facing a very difficult person. Okay. So let's get on to why should we have these difficult conversations where, in the context of where there's some close and seemingly healthy relationships, right? And the purpose of it is to share your feelings and perspectives, to share my feelings and the way I see things, and for me to open up honestly and inviting the other person into, what's really going on with me. And it's for the other person to understand you, and then they can connect with you more, right? Because if you're not honest and you cannot open up, then how do they know what's going on with you? They might just think you're cold or you're distant or you're shutting off or walling up. Yeah, and so let's make this clear. It's not for you to share so that the other person changes their behavior. It's not to make them change their mind, right? So it's for you. I'm sharing my perspective. These are my feelings. These are my thoughts. And I just want to share that. And also you might want to add in that, and this is what I need, right? Yeah, so these conversations are so good because then you're not blaming the other person. So let's talk. I have exercise for you guys, actually, where you can get into pairs, and we would like you to practice some of these, saying these things. Yeah. So when I want to share my perspective, I'm taking responsibility for my own reactions. I'm not saying, you did that and you made me feel that way. I'm saying, oh, this is what I'm feeling. Okay, I've got to process that. I've got to really look at that. I'm reacting. And it's for you to acknowledge and be honest with what's really going on for you. So when you begin to take responsibility for your feelings, then you're not going to blame, you're not going to shame, right? Because you're just sharing your perspective. And then for both people, when you share this way, you will reduce defensiveness. Because you know what? It's natural for us to be defensive. If I said to Stan, you didn't do the dishes, right? Instead of then, I might go, I feel frustrated when I didn't see the dishes get done. I need to ask you to please do them on time. This is right. So if I went you, then he's going to go what? He's going to get very defensive. So it's a way to take the walls down, and it's a way for people to show you empathy, and for you to show respect, and there's understanding, and we resolve conflict or tension, and it deepens our bonds because I get to be honest, and I get to really share with you, and you get to listen to that and understand me more. So that is how we centered, mature people do resolve conflict. And so the way it is, I don't know if you've heard of this, but using I statements. Have you guys heard of that? Really? What? Have you guys ever used I statements before?
Okay, yeah, you can practice it later.
No. Wow. This is good. We could all put into this. What? What did you
True it.
What did you say?
It was something. It was just a inside joke.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. So let's make up a scenario in your head. You can make up your own, right? Like, when was the last time it was a difficult situation? Yeah. So you're thinking to yourself, oh gosh, that was really bad. That was really tense. Okay. Now, how am I going to resolve this? So basically, there's 3 stages. There's the preparation stage, there's a conversation stage, and there's a kind of a closing, right? You come away, walking away with, okay, let's agree on something here. Okay, I understand you more. Right, or I'm sorry, So number 1, the preparation stage. Say you've had a really strong reaction. So the first thing is to prepare yourself, which means to have that difficult conversation with yourself first, right? So after you've had this really big reaction, you came away, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm so angry, I'm furious, and you're all, your heart's beating really fast, and you're like, oh, I really want to fight back, and I really want to say something mean to them so I feel better. So you pull yourself away, and you've got to process, you've got to be self-aware, right? So notice your reactions, notice your feelings. What am I thinking? What just happened there? Oh, I was just stressing out. That was just a stress response, but it was after that. Oh, I felt a bit shamed, maybe? I felt shamed. That's why it hurt so much, And so the first thing you've got to do is be able to process your own feelings, so yourself. What most people do is they go up to the person straight away. Hey, listen, I'm really mad because you did that. And then, boom, the whole thing just blows up, right? No, the best way is to remove yourself and go, what was that? Why am I reacting so much? What are these feelings? So sit with them, process those feelings. What happened? What was going on? What do I need to do? So calm yourself down, then you can think clearly. So I think we find it very, very hard to do that, to notice what we're feeling and then pull away and then sit with our feelings. When I say sit with it, it's very uncomfortable, these feelings that come up, but that's okay. What am I feeling? I'm feeling quite angry. Actually, no, I'm furious. But what I'm feeling deep down, I just feel hurt because I felt shamed by those comments. So you sit with it, and then once you settle down, then you can actually process it. It's really hard to process something when you've got a lot going on and you're overwhelmed by those big feelings, right? Okay, so then you've got to think, I've got to wait until I'm calm and emotionally calm and I have a clear headspace. So my emotions have calmed down. Now I'm thinking clearly. Now I've processed everything, right? So you want to think, when is the right time to go and talk to this person? I really feel like they need to know. So then you have to wait for them to be rational and you to be rational. So when you're emotional, they're emotional, and you go back into that conversation, it's going to just blow up, right? You're going to have a clash. It's just going to be so bad. So you've got to wait till they're rational, wait till you're rational, and then are we ready to have a talk? So that's the one, preparation. So you must do the preparation. If you go back into the conflict straight away, everything's going to be so bad. Sorry? That's right. We know it doesn't work. Yeah. Okay, then number 2 is the conversation. So you think, okay, I think I need to talk. I need to have this difficult conversation with that person. So you want to be gentle, you want to be respectful, you want to be clear. And you could say to them, hey, could I talk to you about something? Hey, I think we need to have a talk, right? And then, when would you like to have this talk? Yeah, so make sure when they agree to the conversation, make sure you're not distracted, so your phone's not on, you're not, you don't have people walking in and out, you don't have people tapping you on the shoulder, hey, can I have this, can I have that? Make sure you create a quiet space, just so you two can just focus, and they can hear you out, and you can hear them out as well. Yeah, so you want that space. Prepare yourself and then ask for a time to talk and then make a space to really have undistracted time. Right. So, now if you were the one that was reacting, a really good thing to take down people's defenses and thinking, are they going to get into a fight here, or are you going to blame me or something, is to acknowledge you're wrong. Hey, first of all, I just want to apologize. I'm sorry for... Okay, so that's the first thing you do. If you're the one that reacted first, acknowledge you're wrong. Apologize. You'd be so surprised at how your apology calms down the other person and yourself. And plus you're taking responsibility for your part. You're acknowledging your part, right? You can only take responsibility for your wrongs, for what you did. That's a good thing because you can do something about it. And then you can begin by, can I share with you how I felt about... We're going to do this exercise. So now this is a tricky part, and we're not going to find this very natural. I don't find it very natural still. We're still working on it. But we find that, it works really well. It takes down a lot of walls. It dissolves anger. Is using the I feel statement. It's a kind of a structured way of doing it, but it's not like the magic formula, It depends on the other person, your relationship with them, how much trust there is. If there's unresolved issues there, then it might not work so well. But the I statement is this. You start with not you. Say, for example, the problem is that you say, you never listen to my problems. So if you go into that conversation, you go, can we talk? And then you go, you never listen to my problems.
Okay,
and
wait
then
to come back and talk.
then Stan's going to go, what do you mean by that? I'm always listening to you. And if you always start with you, then they feel they're being blamed. They feel that you're shaming them. They feel that it's their fault. So what you do is, instead of say you say, I feel. So I feel unheard when I share my problems with you because I see you're on your phone before I even finish talking. Right? So I feel a certain feeling when you did this. Yep, you guys got it? I'm going to get you to do an exercise. So I'm going to hand out some you statements. So those are the inflammatory way, the more like, not the right way to resolve a conflict way. Reactive way. And this is the more proactive way. So I'm going to give you some you statements. Oh, Sam, do you want to?
I don't know.
Peers. How many people here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, good. 4 pairs. 4 pairs.
Oh, yeah.
And so I want you guys to look at the you statements and then come up with a I statement. Like, think about how you might feel. Right? Just pretend it's a situation that you're given. And then I want you guys to share with the group, all of us, how you might answer that with you're only allowed to say, I feel an emotion when this happened. Oh, and the other side of that is, I need you to. So obviously this is a formula, but sometimes it's more complicated, right? So after I feel, and then I need you to change what action, what behavior you want to see.
Okay,
Or I
instruction.
would prefer you to. So you've got to learn to ask for things. So you learn how you share how you feel, and then learn how to ask for what you need. Is that cool?
Any practical examples?
I just shared one. Okay,
I need you, that one.
So the first one, you never listen to my problems. I feel unheard when I share my problems with you because I see you on your phone before I finish talking. And then instead I might say, it would help me to feel more heard if you would listen to my problems without the distraction of the phone. Right? So you can be positive with it as well. You don't make it a demand. You don't want to come across as like a demand. It's like, I want to ask you respectfully, and it's also up to you to respond to that. You want to invite them in respectfully. Any questions?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to talk about these things. Like I feel and I need. Because like a lot of us, we tend to think, oh yeah, they should know, right? Or they should know, he should know. But the truth is that they don't. Yeah, if you don't speak up, they don't. But it's so simple. Yes, we don't know some simple things too, you know. So you just have to speak up.
Okay, so can we get into peers? And I'll give you a couple of scenarios to work on. So I feel, and I would prefer, and I would like. Cool. Okay. Do you just pick one because it's got a peer on it, and then pass it on to. So are you guys all right in your peers? Do you want to go? Oh, do you want a peer? That's uneven. A peer? Do you have two on there? Is there two
One paper each
scenarios?
or one paper?
Is there two different scenarios? Two scenarios.
Well,
One paper per peer.
Oh, why don't you guys
so
do it as a three?
Three of us?
Yes.
three of us.
Yeah, why don't you guys do it as a
No,
three? Huh?
is it one paper for two people?
Yes, but is it a peer?
How do I know?
Is it two questions on
Yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah.
Yes, so you're doing two each. Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
just one.
paper
Just
per
one.
person.
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
okay.
One. So you guys can do three. You guys can do